Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this PopMa's session on pathpreneurship, an idea to change life. Well, I just hope that Popcorn 2025 so far has given you much of the valued lectures that you have been looking for. And, we have covered many things regarding the pathology practice and how are you going to start on your own without being dependent on any of the job markets. So that going with the theme Atmanirbhar oral pathologist, let us start today's session on pathpreneurship, an idea to change life. Now, pathpreneurship is, entrepreneurship in pathology. And for that, we actually require students or actually require people, those who are having ambition for oral pathology. That means they are zodiac oral pathologists. I believe that every subject in our profession is like a zodiac sign, and the things that are required to become, say, for example, a good endodontist or a good prosthodontist, they are basically imbibed somewhere in your DNA. And that's why your personality becomes like your subject. And based on that, we will talk about who are the zodiac oral pathologist people, okay? Who have the gene, the DNA to become an oral pathologist and to, succeed pathopreneur. So, do you agree with your stream zodiac firstly? Now, we all know that those whosoever have perceived oral pathology, they are divided or categorized into two groups. Okay. First is the group of oral pathologists who by chance pursue the field. Okay. And second category of people belong to those who are really passionate about oral pathology or those who have dire hard interest in knowing about the field. Okay. So now let us talk about the second category. I mean the oral pathologist. Those actually have interest, skill sets and passion for the subject. Those people basically have creative minds, great skill of expression. Okay, may that be their histopathology report writing or their teaching skills. These people are very expressive, very creative. Their minuteness to details is what makes you very, very curious and innovative. And that is what is required for becoming a good oral pathologist and succeedingly entering into the world of research, innovation, and entrepreneurship. So first, let us talk about the buzzword saturation. Okay, now we all know that it's not just limited to the stream of oral pathology, but now this is like a bug, a virus, which has actually infected the whole of dentistry. Okay, saturation. So all dental streams, just not oral pathology, is now saturated. There has been so much of talk regarding why there is less of admissions in oral pathology, why the seats are going vacant, and so on. So I just want to address this problem. That one of the article was also published that why students do not consider the choice of oral pathology for MDS. Okay, because oral pathology is, perceived as a non-clinical subject, which is so not true. And we have been covering in Popcorn various sessions which are addressing this issue. It is perceived as a non-lucrative branch with minimum opportunities of employment, okay, and restricted knowledge about the field and, the opportunities that one may actually get in the field, okay. So many times, young or budding BDS graduates, basically whosoever are pursuing oral pathology, they choose this field for one of these four reasons that those are being mentioned. Okay, either the fees is low, okay, or they have some legacy behind them. Okay, that jaake galla hi sambhalna hai sort of thing. So all these reasons are basically not interest for the subject, but other reasons which are not actually going to give you that zest in pursuing the field after. So what are the three attitudes for oral pathology pursuers, okay, or the three attitudes that you must have before you are entering into the stream, or if you are into the stream? for carrying forward this pressure as well as opportunities, you need to have three attitudes. First, don't believe everything that is propagated. Okay, people may say that there are no admissions, people may say there is no employment, people may say that pathology, oral pathologist के पास कहाँ samples जाते हैं, whatsoever, but don't believe everything in it. Secondly, carve your own path. Don't follow the crowd. Okay. So wherever everyone is going, yes, I'm an implantologist. I'm earning so and so. So whole mob goes for implantology. Once there was a what to say, there was a trend of endodontia. So every Tom, Dick and Harry was pursuing endodontics. So wherever there is a crowd, if you follow the same path, ultimately you will also end up standing in the crowd only. And then we talk about saturation. Okay, so you should have your own path based on your own skill sets and interest. Okay, and we will talk about it, that what lateral skill sets also you can actually imbibe from the field. And third is you learn a skill and not just a curriculum. So this is the most important point that we will explore in much detail, that whenever you're pursuing a degree, a course, or a curriculum of a subject, so it's not just exam or textbook. Okay, it is the skill that that subject or profession gives you, and that skill can be encashed in so many other ways, rather than just restricting to the curriculum of that subject. So now we will talk about how can one combine passion for pathology with business skills. Okay, because here we are all talking today about Atmanirbhar oral pathologist, or how we can become self-sufficient. So I think now is an era of startups and innovation ecosystem. And pathology is a very, very lucrative field as far as business skills and collaboration of these two fields are concerned. So first, I would like to address the point that how can business, which is the world of scalability, which is the world of strategies, which is the world of innovation, can be collaborated with pathology, which is the world of scientific discoveries. Okay, and healthcare industry greatly depends upon diagnostic industry. Okay, so together this is a powerful combination as far as we are talking about shaping the future of healthcare system. So pathology meets business is our topic for today. And, in pathology research, innovation, your diagnostic expertise, okay. And from business side, you will have strategic planning, financial management, and market-driven solutions, which, apparently you will have to learn few of them, or just you may have it naturally and you will have to realize with a proper strategic planning that how you can build up a sustainable solution. Now, let's see so far what are the success stories of pathology business, okay, or diagnostics business. Now, these are the two case studies that I have typically taken to, to show all of you that we all know Dr. Lal Path Labs, okay, and we also know Metropolis. So, Dr. Lal Path Labs had started in 1977, and the founder was also a medico by profession, who is Dr. Arvind Lal. Now, what did he see? Okay, at that time in 1977, when people were not even knowing that a pathology lab can become a chain of centers and franchises. Okay, so what he saw a gap in the market, that not everywhere the pathology labs were available then. Okay, they were available to the privileged or to the most underprivileged, that those were the government pathology labs. So this gap in the market was being addressed. So what did he do? Eventually, after the family lab was taken over by Dr. Arvind, he employed a strategic growth partner who was typically an MBA from IIM Ahmedabad. Okay, and then they actually planned of starting a modernized system in diagnostic care. Okay, after which there was a massive expansion of Dr. Lal Path with over 200 plus labs, 2500 plus service centers, 6500 plus sample points. So till date, 17.6 million patients have been served, and this is complete, market cap of around 1200 crore plus. Okay, so a huge empire as far as the market capital of Lalpath is concerned. And similar is the story of Metropolis, which is a very big international brand today. With, this was also founded, Metropolis was founded in 1980 by Dr. Sushil Shah, and he had a similar small center of collection, okay, blood collection. So his daughter Amina Shah, which we all know, so she became an MBA from a very reputed IIM institute, wherein she actually started collection centers and expansion similarly to the Lalpath. She also had packages and home services thing with her, which actually gave them a more niche over other diagnostic chains. And this lady on her own expanded the healthcare business across India to many countries, okay, with the USP of and a commitment of delivering quality healthcare, which is also accessible at your doorstep. So this was their agenda of expansion. So what I mean to say here is you need to identify a proper gap, okay, for which people are going to pay you. And along with that, complete commitment of delivering the accuracy and effective care will actually never, step your business back. So these were the success stories of two very big pathologypreneurs who had similarly started with a small room, with a small setup, and eventually across globe the expansion is today witnessed. Okay, so industry and market size of pathology business today, which also includes biotechnology business, okay, and some sector of pharmaceuticals, is so much. It's about 13.56 billion in 2023, and it is supposed to increase at around 18.5% CAGR. Okay. So now you all will have a question in mind that this is about the biggies, the general pathology or the blood pathology businesses. Okay, what about oral pathology? Okay, so my dear friends, now we are going to start from here, that how can dynamics of an oral pathology enterprise be? Okay, how we can go for scaling up of this enterprise and being professional ventures out of these. Firstly, talk about the relevance, that whether oral pathology, is relevant. Is it going to solve a real problem? Because whenever we are, informed, or whenever discussions happen, so people don't talk about the oral lesions. Okay, they talk about caries, they talk about endodontics, they talk about missing tooth and implants, but nobody actually talks about oral biopsies or oral lesions. So we also tend to believe in our mind that it contributes to a very small percentage of the patient that are being reported into the clinics. On the contrary, I would like to say that around 43.5% of the patients, the footfall that come into the clinics, have some kind of oral lesion. Okay, and this is the published data, right? It is just that much of awareness in reporting is not present, or that much of importance is not given until and unless it is a full-blown carcinoma, right? In many parts of the country. Because India being a major tobacco hub, the average incidence of tobacco-related mucosal lesion, it ranges around 28% to 44%, okay, which is quite significant. In India, 20 per 1 lakh population are also affected by oral cancer, and 30% of all type of cancer is oral cancer. If you see the map or geography of cancer across India, we will see that no state is completely free, right? Every state has got a major contribution of oral or head and neck cancer. So we contribute to almost 1/3 of the total burden, and second country which is having the highest number of oral cancer cases. So business has got a lot of scope here because it is all about demand and supply. Now, on the contrary, if you see USA, so USA has got the total incidence of oral mucosal lesion, which is less than 10%. Okay. Australia, and other countries have around 1%, 17% of the non-ulcerated lesion. Okay. But irony of the situation, look at that. Where is 43.5% and where is 10%? But still, US pathology laboratories have got a good burden of oral biopsies as compared to India. Okay. Data is also not supportive of all these things when you compare the contrast. So where are we going wrong? Okay. There is relevance for this business. There is enough expertise for this business. Okay. There is market for this business, but still, there is a huge contrast and huge gap. So I think we as entrepreneurs, we as pathologists and doctors, we are going wrong somewhere. And I think these are the 5 golden steps that we actually should start following to increase the oral pathology enterprise and practice today, which is dedication towards it, promotion of our field, expansion beyond academics or our personal setups. We need strategic planning which will focus on actually solving the problems and not just remain confined towards our academic records, okay, or even to these even to such workshops and conferences. We should actually think of solving real problems of real people rather than just having discussions over it. And then of course networking with like-minded people, networking with guys who are actually working in the field. And I will talk a lot about networking in my coming slides, which is actually a golden rule for today's era. So I would like to say that anyone who want to pursue oral pathology as a business or as a practice should first take an oath that he or she will be a complete loyalist. Okay. Once you decide to step into this specialty, you should be 100% serious about it. Okay. Because if we only take oral pathology as, as a hobby branch or, as just a side practice, with our main dental clinics, obviously people who are going to come to you are also going to pursue this as a side branch. Okay. So there is nothing wrong to have a clinic and a laboratory both, but make sure that you are treating 2 enterprises individually. Okay. And as far as, the income is concerned, because many of you can say over this that, ma'am, but dental clinic gives us more income as compared to oral pathology lab. So I would like to say, yes, but do you do the same investment in an oral pathology lab also as much you do in a dental clinic? No. So once you have equal investments, you will have equal opportunities and equal share of both. And that we will see how. Second comes promotion. You have to promote your expertise. You have to promote your specialty. Okay. Whenever you go anywhere, you address yourself as dentist, but start addressing yourself as an oral oncologist or an oral pathologist or whatever specialty you want to practice and take forward. Okay. So just see the interest that starts coming to you. Okay. Because present era, you will find that not just oral lesions as per se the tobacco related oral lesions, but now is the time of great systematic diseases also. Okay, like diabetes, hypertension, hematological disorders, HIV, fungal infections. So much of spectrum of systemic diseases are there, which will have oral manifestations. Okay, we all have read this in Schaefer's, right? That oral manifestations of systemic diseases. Okay. But how many of we actually report it? How many of we actually see for it, look for it? So that ratio is really less. So I think oral pathologists have got scope in every medical specialty also. Okay. We need to propagate our importance, not just to diagnose the oral lesions, but of course to the underlying conditions and refer patients accordingly. Okay. So promotion of oral pathology as a practice actually needs to be taken on our cards. Okay, we are oral physicians for that matter, and we can work as consultants to the medical practitioners. So how can we do that? How can we become consultants to the medical practitioners? So because I am a consultant to medical practitioners in my district at least, I can say that networking has got a huge role to play over here. Okay. Because ours is primarily a referral branch. Okay. Patient coming to you or the natural footfall may be more for the dental side of it. But as far as the specialty oral pathology is concerned, somebody is going to refer you a patient. Okay. So doctors are your main clients here. So when you are your main client is your colleague or your doctor who is going to send you the referral, you need to be outgoing, you need to be a part of group organizations. Okay. You have to introduce yourself, pitch your skill sets as a specialist and not just a dentist in all those groups, because super specialty is already in, guys. Here, an ophthalmologist also has got a cornea specialist and a retina specialist nowadays. Okay, we have microvascular surgeon, we have robotic surgeon. So along the specialties also, people have started believing in the concept of super specialists, and I think this is the perfect era for us also to actually introduce or reintroduce ourselves similarly to the doctors. Okay, because they will understand the importance that yes, he is a pathologist, but he is an oral pathologist. Okay, so oral pathologist actually needs to be the very social and very outgoing, in contrast to their nature otherwise, which is sitting behind and giving reporting. Okay, cross branch networking or consultation here is a major thing which I will suggest to build an enterprise. Okay, because we must all first accept that we are doctors and we know a specialty that no one else knows better than us. Okay, so oral histopathologists have got scope to work with all these guys. May those be oncosurgeons, may those be general pathologists, pediatricians, gynecologists, general surgeons, endocrinologists, and ENT surgeons. And believe me, guys, all of these people will refer to you patients, because they have referred to me patients until and only if you go and actually tell your scope, suggest them, make an awareness, host certain lectures in IMAs, okay, and in other associations to tell that you can help them in, healing of all these patients, okay, whoever are coming to their OPDs. So for this, you need to develop a strategic plan, okay? And a strategic plan can only be developed if you have a vision for that, okay? So the foundation stone for any of the business is to believe in your product or service, okay? Because only if you believe in whatever you are delivering, then only everyone else will believe. So this is the strategic plan for oral pathology and microbiology, which is creating the brand, introduction of your lab or company, how have you established your setup, team appointing, delivery of all the services that you have actually offered, marketing of your lab, intercity consultations, and collaborations. So this is a complete plan that actually you should work upon before starting your oral pathology enterprise. Coming to creating the brand, so everywhere if you see Shark Tank India, or you see any of the advertisement on your Instagram, Facebook, etc., what you see is brand, right? But here, for you are the brand. For your lab, you are the brand. Okay, so how can you create your brand? So if you are very new to the field, for that matter, if you are a budding oral pathologist, or you have just passed out, or recently passed out, so what you can do is you can just go and meet people. Okay, how have I started oral pathology practices? By taking up small research projects in the hospitals or in the oncology setups. And I started working out of curiosity with them. My first project I still remember is I was looking at I was doing a pap smear of bone biopsies, okay, on table biopsies. So people started noticing me. Okay, they started noticing that yes, this girl comes from a dental college and she does this research project and she stains the slides really well. She reports the lesions really well. Okay, so this is how we start getting noticed. Okay, I have worked with people and various experts. And many of them have not even remunerated me in the initial phases, okay, of my journey. After that, when I started with my own lab, these people automatically became my clientele. So that was in a way learning and exploring the market. Along with that, I was also propagating my skills as an oral pathologist. So this is a very important point and relevant point today. Okay, that today when we are all running behind fast income, fast revenue, I had worked in my time without getting even remunerated. But this is how I could actually develop a sustainable oral pathology practice. So your efforts, genuinity and subject knowledge are only going to be your USPs rather than hiring people and asking them to market yours. So then comes, after you have learned a bit of skill, after you have networked with experts in the field, etc., then comes the official introduction of your lab and company. Okay, so in that, be a professional. Okay, you have to actually take your oral pathology lab just like people take their hospitals or their clinics. Okay, you can host a small inauguration party, give away judiciously, give away your marketing material, propagate your PROs to develop more and more attractive marketing material for that, highlight the services through good quality cards, flyers and posters, and that is the brand that shows how serious are you regarding your lab or company. Okay, if the budget permits, you can also go for advertisements in local newspapers. You cannot do directly, but you can post certain camps and you can just be a part of many campaigns. Okay, radio ads. Okay, and you can highlight what things you can offer for common people. Workplace and lab setup. So make sure your workplace and lab conditions define what your vision is for it. Okay, just do not just take a small 700 square feet of space with one microscope and one printer and just start your practice. It doesn't work like that for long. Okay, have a vision. What are you going to actually start here? What things can you collaborate here? And always frame short and long-term goals while designing the lab. Invest a bit on the interiors of the lab, okay, and give a pleasant look and feel. So there are very little or no references actually for an ideal basic oral pathology lab. So my own tips are, the one which I have, I'll give you the glimpses of the same, which I have incorporated in my lab setup is at least 3 chambers are required. So those are the oral pathologist chamber with X-ray viewer, computer printer, all those things. Microbiology chamber, grossing table and instruments. Reception with technicians furniture. This is a basic thing, okay, that you should have. Then you can also have a room for IHC and advanced diagnostics, a room for minor oral procedures like FNACs, blood investigations and a research center wherein if you find a good case, you can also have a small study on that. This is a structure of my lab, Dentopath Lab and Research Center. Okay, I have a reception, I have blood collection and swab collection, storage, histopathology section, and then I have a research, company, wherein I have a research counseling room, research executives chambers, sales and reporting section, and also a podcast and a webinar room. So these are some of the glimpses of my lab. Appointing a team. So no business can be a one-man show. Okay, team is essential for execution of the plan as well as expansion of the plan. Okay, so a basic team structure for OPath Enterprise is a technician or a receptionist, pick and drop guy for tissues and reports, one PRO and one histopath technician with or microbiologist, whosoever. Okay. Your team structure will differ if your services are different. This is my team structure, right? And we also host team meetings and sports and everything within our office premises. So delivery of the services, which is extremely important here, because no enterprise or no company or no clinic can run without accurate delivery of your offerings. Okay. So the major part of the strategic planning is accurate delivery of services to the client. It can be a patient or it can be a doctor. Okay. So we deal maximum with malignancy reporting. Hence, we need to take the responsibility of it. Okay. In case of oral cancer, make sure to call the surgeon and tell them, okay, if it is a rare case, also give publication of that rare case as a complimentary service. Okay. For a patient, you can try to talk in person with the patient also. Okay. You can go for clinical consultation of oral lesions. Realize that half of the oral lesions are stress related. So you can also give bit counseling and explain them regarding the diet, all those things. So that personal touch by your side will actually get you more patients by mouth to mouth propaganda. Okay. So this is the marketing and propaganda. We will come up with it. That most important aspect for any business, especially when you need to create a sailor's market, is train your sales and marketing executives to propagate your services. You yourself have to host many webinars, many workshops, okay, for promoting the importance of your field. Basically, you need to be seen to become a brand. You can get attached to the local clubs like JCIs, Lion clubs, etc., IMAs and IDAs, and go and talk about it. So here is, like we have hosted many workshops in dental colleges and medical colleges. We have also offered, because one of my product was an edtech platform on oral pathology. So I had hosted a students seminar in the office. Okay. I had been called in various colleges. So here we had kept a booth for promoting our products of my company, including the histopathology, even the edtech platform. And we have been to various conferences. Okay. This was the impact that students had started keeping their WhatsApp status, their Instagram reels. Okay. So the product gets propagated like this. First, you need to market, you need to showcase, and then people will start, propagating it. So this was a conference that we hosted in a good 5-star setup. As I told you, that let it be an investment, because once there is an investment, people will start to take you seriously, your brand seriously. Okay. And this is how I was even called for a prestigious jewelry brand ambassador, just by being active. This was the first time that a doctor was called to inaugurate a jewelry brand. Okay. So intercity consultations are just like branches like orthodontia and endodontia. Even oral pathologists are very likely to get consultations from other cities. Okay. So many big and small cities sends you, samples by courier. Okay. The various surgeons and dentists can also send you the samples. So intercity and cross-city consultations are much more easier, in fact, to us than any other branch, as we can diagnose and report a case from the comfort of our own places. We do not even have to go there. So coming to collaboration, I'll just quickly run through the slide. So these are various collaborations that you can have to actually expand your pathology business. And making the whole world your oyster, which is my favorite, one of the favorite slide is, we will come back to the skills that are learned parallelly with histopathology. Okay. So oral pathology teaches skills like research, creativity, communication, critical thinking. Okay. Which actually become our superpower. And with every damn skill that we learn in oral pathology, we can develop an enterprise, guys. Okay. So collaborations with professional and experts across field, which includes technology guys, AR, VR, AI guys, MBA executives, chartered accountants, publication houses, media people, all will help you expand your business. Okay. And encash on your skills. So just to give just my small journey, I would like to highlight, which I am enjoying. I will not comment whether I am successful or I am lesser successful or whatsoever, but I will like to highlight that I am enjoying the field to the fullest. Okay. Because whatever skills I, being a student of oral pathologist, I have learned, I have tried to implement. Okay. So I started with being topper in the oral pathology. but I was not offered salary like many of us, which is, cutting edge with other branches. Then I had some pregnancy complication and had to take a break of around 2 years, after which I started Neuron Institute. Then I started Workas Research Innovations, where we are building real life biosensors, AI ML based models for cancer detection. Okay. I was very happy because when I was not offered a proper job, but I could offer job to my hometown people. So my company has got around 40 plus employees. Okay. Two more education app was launched. I also have wrote books on cancer awareness for kids and school programs we had taken. Along the way, I started doing podcasts and many other things to promote my brand and my own self. Then we started with company other enterprises. Okay, I became collaborator with Harvard School of Medicine, Sunway University, Malaysia, wherein we are working on exosome-based cancer vaccines. I have also developed a medtech company with technology people from IIT Bombay. So all these enterprises have been developed just with basic skills of curiosity and answering the WH type of questions that Oral Path have taught me to ask. So our profession gives us a unique edge over others. Okay, skills developed can be encashed in so many ways, and hence I would like to say that diversification is the necessity today. So let us focus on the gold eggs that are laid regularly and not kill our hen by becoming greedy for instant gains. So this story conclusion is especially for oral pathology pursuers, because eventually you are going to get a very bright future if you keep on pursuing what you love, okay, rather than just for instant gains if you try to switch over. So thank you everyone for being a patient listener, and I just hope you might have got some ideas to start your own enterprise. Thank you, Popcorn 2025 and Bhuvan sir, for giving me this opportunity.